Hello, hello. Welcome to your exciting conclusion of Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton. We have been doing this for several weeks now, and it is all coming to an end now. And it's always so weird to say, and it's always so weird because I'm recording all of these at the same time. I can't believe I'm speaking 3 weeks into the future right now. Never that far ahead. But I hope you have been enjoying it. I hope it didn't drag on or was too long, or you thought it could have been smaller parts. I do apologize. You don't know how long it's going to be until you start talking. I didn't know that last part was going to be as short as it was, but it seemed like it was going to be way longer. Harvey is still laying on my lap, taking a little nappy. She's being very cute. My stomach is growling like crazy. You could probably hear it. And I am just going to get started. I don't really have anything to talk about because nothing has happened since I sat down in this seat 3 hours ago. So we left off with Monica was named as a potential witness in Paula Jones's harassment case because she's trying to prove there is a pattern of behavior by Bill Clinton. So she's like, if I can just prove that he had hit on these couple other government state employees, it can legitimize my case. She has no idea that she's about to unearth this full-blown affair with Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton. So on December 15th, 1997, Paula Jones's lawyer served President Clinton with her second set of document requests by overnight mail. These requests asked the president to produce documents that related to communications between President and Monica Lewinsky. This was the first Paula Jones discovery request to refer to Monica Lewinsky by name. Monica wasn't alerted that she was on a witness list until December 17th, so this is 2 days later. The president told her that she would not necessarily be subpoenaed, and if she were, he suggested she could sign an affidavit to try and satisfy Paula Jones' inquiry and not be disposed. On Friday, December 19th, 1997, sometime between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m., Monica was served with a subpoena at her Pentagon office. The subpoena commanded her to appear for a deposition in Washington, D.C. at 9:30 a.m. on January 23rd, 1998. The subpoena also required the production of certain documents and gifts. Among the items that Monica was required to produce were each and every gift, including but not limited to any and all dresses, accessories, and jewelry and or hat pins given to you by or on behalf of Defendant Clinton, as well as every document constituting or containing communications between you and Defendant Clinton, including letters, cards, notes, memoranda, and all telephone records. Monica testified that after being served with the subpoena, she burst into tears and then telephoned Mr. Jordan from a payphone at the Pentagon. Mr. Jordan confirmed Monica Lewinsky's account. He said he tried to reassure Monica, come and talk to me. I'll see what I can do about finding you counsel. That evening, Mr. Jordan visited the president at the White House. According to Jordan, the two met alone in the residence and talked for about 10 minutes. He testified, I told him that Monica Lewinsky had been subpoenaed, came to me with a subpoena. I told him that I was concerned by her fascination, her being taken with him. I told him how emotional she was about having gotten the subpoena. I told him what she said to me about whether or not he was going to leave the First Lady at the end of the term, because he had allegedly told Monica that he was going to leave Hillary, and then Monica was asking Vernon Jordan about that. Mr. Jordan asked the president the one question that I wanted answered. The question was, Mr. President, have you had sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky? And the president told Mr. Jordan, no, never. By this time, Linda had been subpoenaed to testify about Monica to Jones's lawyers, who had been tipped off to the tape's existence by that literary agent through a back channel of conservative attorneys. So Paula Jones's lawyers had gotten wind that there are taped conversations of Bill Clinton acting inappropriately. Well, not taped conversations of Bill Clinton, but evidence that he had acted inappropriately. And Linda had told Monica that she planned to expose Clinton's affair with her. On January 7th, Monica Lewinsky signed an affidavit stating that she never had a sexual relationship with Clinton. When talking to Linda on a taped phone call, she said, to tell you the truth, I'm not concerned all that much anymore because I'm not going to get in trouble. I will not get in trouble because you know what? The story I've signed under oath is what someone else is saying under oath. And Linda said, who? And Monica said, he will. And Linda said, oh, the big guy. So Monica had just told Linda that Bill Clinton is going to lie under oath. Monica tried very hard to get Linda to lie under oath when questioned about if Monica had a relationship with the president. I'm going to read a transcript from a taped phone call where Linda asked Monica if she could tell her lawyer about the affair and what she knew. Monica said, don't you think he's going to say, Linda, I can't let you lie? Linda said he may, but it's not going to hurt us more than we already are hurt. Monica said, but it's one more person who will know. Look, maybe we should just tell the creep. Maybe we should just say, don't ever talk to me again. I fucked you over by telling others about the relationship. Now you have this information. Do whatever you want with it. Linda said, well, if you want to do that, that's what I would do, but I don't know that you're comfortable with that. I think he should know. Monica said he won't settle the Jones case. He's in denial. Linda said, I think if he fucking knew, he would settle. Monica said, I don't think so, because he knows what it will end up is just being me against you, and I don't want to paint you as a bad person. Linda said, look, Monica, we already know you're going to lie under oath. We also know that I want out of this big time. If I have to testify, it's going to be the opposite of what you say. And Monica said, well, it doesn't have to be a conflict. And Linda said, what do you mean? How? Tell me how. What am I supposed to say if they say, has Monica Lewinsky ever said to you that she is in love with the president or is having a physical relationship with the president? If I say no, that is fucking perjury. That's the bottom line. I will do everything I can not to be in that position. That's what I'm trying to do. I think you really believe that this is very easy and that I should just say, fuck it, they can't prove it. Monica said, I believe you, but obviously I don't have the same feelings about the situation. Linda said, what do you mean? Monica said, because if I had the same feelings that it was so wrong to deny something, then I would not be doing. You see what I mean? Linda said, I think deep down you don't like having to lie. And Monica said, I don't think anybody likes to. I would lie on the stand for my family. That is how I was raised. Linda said, you're going to die here. I would do almost anything for my kids, but I don't think I would lie on the stand for them. Monica said, I was brought up with lies all the time. That's how you got along. I lied my entire life. Linda said that this is so amazingly huge to me. I know it's huge to you. I know I'm being a shitty friend, and that's the last thing I want to do because I won't lie. How do you think that makes me feel? I can make you stop crying, and I feel like I'm sticking a knife in your back, and I know at the end of this, if I have to go forward, you will never speak to me again, and I will lose a dear friend. Monica said, look, I will deny it so he will not get screwed in the case, but I'm going to get screwed personally. Linda said, this is sick. This is sick. The women discussed a plan for Linda to have a foot accident and end up in the hospital when she is to be disposed. Linda said, look, I can't lie under oath, so I have to think of a way that I don't have to. I only wish you'd tell the big one that I know, then I'd know he knew. Monica said, I can't. If I do that, I'm just going to fucking kill myself. Linda said, he hasn't asked you if you told anyone. And Monica said, he asked me something, and I said, no. The other one, the one I saw today, apparently Vernon Jordan asked me, and he said, you didn't tell anyone, did you? And Linda said, and what did you say? And Monica said, no. Linda said, oh, Jesus Christ, and you think anything you tell him would definitely get back to the other one? And Monica said, of course it would. They then returned to the subject of whether Bill Clinton would settle with Paula Jones if he knew Monica had told Linda of the alleged relationship. Monica said, no, he wouldn't. I promise you that's not enough information. He's in denial about it. Linda said, he knows you're going to lie. You've told him, haven't you? And Monica said, no. Linda said, I thought that night when he called you established that much. She said, well, I mean, I don't know. Linda said, Jesus, well, does he think you're going to tell the truth? And Monica said, no, oh, Jesus. Linda said, so he's at least feeling somewhat safe that this is not going to go any further right now. And Monica said, yes. Monica's call waiting beeps, and when she checks in to find it's her mother. After Monica talks to her mom, she speaks to Linda again. She said, my mother understands why you think it's necessary to tell the truth. She said the plan to avoid the deposition by having an accident is brilliant. The women discussed of whether there's any hard evidence that could hurt them. Linda said, whatever they have, if they have anything, has to be inadmissible. Nobody saw me give him any of those things, and nobody saw anything that happened between us. And Linda said, are you positive nobody saw you in the study? And she said, I'm absolutely positive. Linda said, what about Betty Curry? What if they're able to subpoena records? And Monica said, what records? And Linda said, phone records. And Monica said, phone calls to me. Honestly, I'd say I was afraid to say he called me because we were friends, and I know what this case is about. I'm sure he calls on some sort of special phone. You know, he got caught once by using a regular phone. So, basically, I'm sure he covered his bases with that. Monica sighed and again expressed her wish that Clinton would just settle the Jones case, but concludes it will never happen. And Linda said, you don't know that yet. And Monica said, yeah, I do, from the way of what Vernon said. Linda said, was he definite? And Monica said, oh, you could hear it in his voice. It's done. Linda said, but again, I go back to the fact that he doesn't know everything. And Monica said, even if you didn't know about our sexual relationship, I'd still be doing this because it's not the lawyer's business. It's not their business. Linda said, if they have anything, it's that you were given federal employment. Monica said, I already had a federal job when the sexual relationship started. Linda said, I cannot be involved with this. I can't be a party to all this ugliness that will do nothing except destroy people. Monica said, I will have lost the two closest people to me. So that was one of the longer phone records after they were both subpoenaed. Basically, basically like a what the fuck are we going to do? But this whole time Linda knows what she's going to do. Obviously, she's going to flip on Monica. I don't even know if it's called flipping because she was never on her side. Independent counsel Kenneth Starr, who had been investigating Whitewater, a scandal-plagued Arkansas real estate venture with which the Clintons had been involved, received more than 20 hours of tapes of phone conversations that seemed to contradict the affidavit that Monica had previously submitted. It was Linda's decision to turn over those tapes to Kenneth W. Starr that transformed a private Washington affair into a public national scandal, but Linda contends that it was Goldberg, the New York literary agent, who encouraged her to do so. Linda said, "It never occurred to me to go to Ken Starr. It wasn't even on my radar screen." It was also Mrs. Goldberg, she said, who pushed her to reveal Monica's affair with the president to lawyers for Paula Jones, who was suing Clinton for sexual misconduct. It was Goldberg who gave Jones's lawyers Mrs. Tripp's unlisted telephone number, she said, adding that she spoke at length with one of those lawyers in October of 1997. So Linda's saying this all sort of fell into my lap. I never had plans to release the phone calls or contact Paula Jones's lawyers. They just all came to me, which I don't know what to believe with that. Linda said years later to ABC News that I was so angry at him. I wanted this relationship exposed in the biggest way because it was so cruel. It was beyond cruel what he was doing to her. And then Linda Tripp decides to play dumb with Monica. So she hands over all these tapes. She's talking to Paula Jones' lawyers, and she's still playing dumb with Monica. Monica said nobody saw anything, so nobody can know anything. And Linda said, "Monica, someone has told them something. They obviously know something. What Monica doesn't know is they know whatever Linda Tripp has told them, which is a lot." The plan to release the tapes would sort of backfire on Linda. Per the LA Times, the tapes revealed Tripp as a duplicitous friend coaxing and manipulating Monica to build a body of evidence against Clinton. The New York Times had a similar take, noting that Monica seemed grateful to be able to confide in the older woman, talking with her regularly and for hours at a time about everything from their diets and exercise routines to Monica's secret romance with the president, all while Linda was milking her young friend for incriminating information against him. And that seemed to be the regular consensus on the tapes. On the tapes, Linda sounds like she's telling Monica whatever she wants to hear just to get more and more evidence and information out of her. It never appeared to outsiders listening that Linda was ever a true friend to Monica. It just never appeared that way. On January 12, 1998, Judge Wright held a hearing in the Jones case to discuss pretrial issues, including the president's upcoming deposition. At that hearing, Judge Wright required Mrs. Jones' counsel to list all of the witnesses they planned to call at trial. Ms. Jones's witness list named many people, among them Monica Lewinsky, to support her theory that the president had a pattern of rewarding women based on their willingness to engage in sexual relations with him. In a face-to-face conversation on January 13th, Monica told Linda Tripp, "This is what my lawyer taught me. You don't very often say no unless you really need to. The best is, well, not that I recall, not that I really remember. I might have, but I don't really remember." Monica said that if asked in the deposition, "Were you ever alone with the president?" she could say, "It's possible I may have taken a letter on the weekend, but I might have, but I don't really." Just she's getting coached on ways to get out of it. Monica and Linda then discussed the situation. Monica said, "I don't think the way that man thinks. I don't think he thinks of lying under oath." Linda said, "Yes, he is, because he's the one who said deny, deny, deny. Of course he knows." Monica said, "Right, but it's hard to explain. It's and then Linda said, "You know what I mean? I don't know. Do I think he's consciously?" And then Monica said, if somebody said to him, "Is Monica lying under oath?" he would say yes. But when he on his own thinks about it, he doesn't think about it in those terms, okay? And Linda said, "Probably." And Monica said, "Okay, he thinks of it as we're safe, we're being smart, okay? We're being smart, we're being safe, it's good for everybody." What Monica doesn't know at this point was Linda was wearing a wire for this meeting. And this is what American Crime Story opens with. So Linda's wearing a wire. There are various FBI agents around. They're having lunch at the Pentagon Mall. And she's having this conversation with Monica about lying under oath and the president lying under oath. So the FBI agents swoop in and take Monica after this conversation is taking place. Monica said later that was the most terrifying day of my life, which competes for the worst day of my life with the release of the Starr report. She said it looked just like in the movies. She was having lunch with her friend, and all of a sudden, 2 FBI agents flashed their badges and took her away. They took her to the adjoining Ritz Carlton hotel. According to the report, independent counsel Emick told Monica she could be prosecuted on criminal charges, but that if she cooperated, he would make known the value of her cooperation with the sentencing judge. For nearly 12 hours, the Office of Independent Counsel lawyers were in a hotel room with this hysterical but very focused young woman who, in spite of their successful efforts to discourage her from contacting her lawyer, she would get less fit for her cooperation. The article added that she was crying, sobbing, regaining her composure, screaming during the interrogation. She also told the FBI to go fuck themselves, which I think is just fantastic. So they're like in this hotel room with her. She's alone. She wants to call her lawyer, but they keep telling her not to. She calls her mom. Her mom immediately gets on a train and goes to the Pentagon, Ritz Carlton or whatever. She said she was threatened with up to 27 years in jail for denying the affair in an affidavit and other alleged crimes. 27 years. When you're only 24, that's a long time. They also told her mother that she might face prosecution if Monica didn't cooperate and wear a wire. And Monica said, in case you didn't know, I did not wear the wire. They pressured her that she had to make the decision immediately. They were telling, so they're like trapping her under the guise of like, we need to do this right away. They were telling like the attorney general in the appellate court that this was urgent because of Michael Isikoff and his article that I mentioned earlier. However, it had nothing to do with that. It was imposed by a deal Tripp had made with Paula Jones's attorney, which required that she brief them before the president's deposition, which is like in a few hours at this point. So like time is of the essence to like domino effect all of these deals that they have made. The ordeal went on until 12:45 a.m. when Monica's father, Bernard, hired his daughter a new lawyer. Years later, in an interview, Monica spoke about being questioned in that hotel room. She said they imagined that I would have flipped really easily. They had no plan in place for what would happen if I said no. Like, they thought they were going to trap her in there, scare her, and she was just going to immediately say yes. They had no idea what to do because they didn't expect her to, like, go to bat for the president like that. She said there was a point for me somewhere within the first several hours where I would be hysterically crying and then I would just shut down. She said in the shutdown period, I just remember looking out the window and thinking the only way to fix this is to kill myself. During an address on Capitol Hill National Whistleblower Day in 2018, Linda said her only regret was not having the guts to do it sooner. However, she never attempted to explain why she made the choice to Monica. She said, even though I believed it was the right thing, I couldn't face her because I knew she would never in a million years understand. She said, I kept holding on to thinking that had it been my daughter, I would want to have had someone stop it, kind of like ripping a Band-Aid off a wound. It has to be done. It's not something you enjoy, but you have to do, but there was no enjoyment in it. None. Two things happened on January 17th, 1998. The president testified under oath at a deposition in the Jones case, and the Drudge Report released a story on their website that Newsweek was sitting on a story that they weren't going to publish about the president having an affair. Those two things happened on the same day. In the deposition, the president obviously lied or was purposely vague. A lot of like, I may have been alone with Monica. I may have done that. I don't think she gave me that. No, blah, 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 blah. The judge asked, did you have an extramarital sexual affair with Monica Lewinsky? He said no. She said, if she told someone that she had a sexual affair with you in the beginning of November of 1995, would that be a lie? He said, it's certainly not the truth. It would not be the truth. The judge said, I think I used the term sexual affair, and so the record is completely clear. Have you ever had sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky, as that term is defined in the Deposition Exhibit 1 as modified by the court? His lawyer said, I object because I don't know that he can remember. And Judge Wright said, well, it's real short. He can. I will permit the question, and you may show the witness definition number 1. He said, I have never had sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky. I have never had an affair with her. For the purpose of the Paula Jones case, the lawyers gave the following definition for sexual relation. For the purpose of this deposition, a person engaged in sexual relations when the person knowingly engages in or causes contact with the genitalia, anus, groin, breast, inner thigh, or buttocks of any person with an intent to arouse or gratify the sexual desire of any person, contact between any part of the person's body or an object in the genitals or anus of another person, or contact between the genitals or anus of the person and any part of another person's body. Contact means intentional touching either directly or through clothing. So that was his deposition in the Paula Jones case. I don't know if I put it in here, but he later comes out that, like, acting on that definition, he didn't think whatever him and Monica did fell under that umbrella of definition, so he wasn't technically lying. The Washington Post broke the case on Wednesday, January 21st, 1998, in an article called Clinton Accused of Urging Aide to Lie. The article said that Ken Starr expanded his investigation to see if Clinton and Vernon, who helped Monica get a job in New York, encouraged an aide to lie in the Paula Jones deposition, and if he had an affair with this young woman. They explained the investigation was being expanded because they acquired taped conversations of Monica that contradicted what she wrote in her affidavit, where she claims they did not have a sexual relationship. White House officials said they were unaware of the expansion of Starr's investigation and referred calls to Robert S. Bennett, the president's lawyer, in the Jones case. His lawyer said the president adamantly denies he ever had a relationship with Miss Lewinsky, and she has confirmed the truth of that. The story seems ridiculous, and I frankly smell a rat. On the taped recordings made by Linda, sources say Monica described her sexual relationship with Clinton and said the president advised her not to worry about the Jones case because Jones' lawyers would not find out about the relationship. Monica said that when she was notified by Jones's lawyer in mid-December that they wanted her testimony, she called the president and he advised her to deny the affair. She said that Clinton then told Monica that Jordan would help figure out what to do or what to say. Responding to the Post story that day, the White House issued a statement personally approved by the president declaring that he was outraged by these allegations and that he has never had an improper relationship with this woman. He then, according to the Starr report, scrambled to talk with Betty Curry and various aides, sort of telling them, like, you know I was never alone with Monica, right? Someone was always there, right? Monica made sexual advances on me and I didn't do anything. Like, just covering his bases, sort of telling them what to say, giving them something to say, feeding them lines in a sort. On the afternoon of January 21st, the president made his first of a series of previously scheduled media appearances. In an interview on National Public Radio's All Things Considered, he said, this following conversation took place. The man said, Mr. President, many Americans woke up to the news today that the Whitewater Independent Counsel is investigating an allegation that you encouraged a young woman to lie to lawyers in the Paula Jones civil suit. Is there any truth to that allegation? He said, no, sir, there is not. That is just not true. Then he said, is there any truth to the allegation of an affair between you and the young woman? He said, no, that's not true either. The charges are not true, and I haven't asked anybody to lie. The following morning, on January 22nd, 1998, the president again denied he had done anything improper. Speaking at a televised White House photo opportunity with Palestinian Authority Chairman Yasser Arafat, the president stated, the allegations are false, and I would never ask anybody to do anything other than tell the truth. That is false. The president also gave an interview to Roll Call that day. He stated, the relationship was not improper, and I think that's important enough to say, but let me answer. It is not an improper relationship, and I know what the word means. The relationship was not sexual, and I know what you mean, and the answer is no. He then consults his former political consultant, Dick Morris, where he said, like, maybe he did do some stuff that could be construed this way and that way. So Dick Morris was like, let's put feelers out. Like, let's work on this. America is forgiving. Let's see, like, what the vibe is. So he gathered that while the citizens could forgive the adultery, they would not be willing to forgive perjury, which Bill already did because he lied in his deposition. So Bill Clinton told Morris, well, I guess we just have to win because, like, there's no going back from this. He can't just, like, tell the truth now because it's already shown that they won't forgive him. They discussed the strategy of completely turning on Monica and putting out a statement blowing her out of the water. Bill Clinton advised that they think very carefully about that because in the off chance she isn't working with Starr, they don't want to push her to do that. So this stuff is coming out and his people are sort of coming to the conclusion that she's working with Starr and that's why all this is happening. So they want to turn on her. And Bill Clinton is like, but if she's not working for Starr now and we do this, she definitely will. So we need to, like, tread very carefully with this situation. On Monday, January 26, 1998, in remarks in the Roosevelt Room in the White House, President Clinton famously gave his last public statement for several months on the Lewinsky matter. At an event promoting after-school health care, the president denied the allegations in the strongest terms. He said, I want to say one thing to the American people. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false. Hillary Clinton remained supportive of her husband throughout the scandal. On January 27th, in an appearance on NBC's Today, she said, the great story here for anybody willing to find it and write about it and explain it is the vast right-wing conspiracy that has been conspiring against my husband since the day he was announced for president. On January 28th, 1998, the same day that he made that statement, a man comes out to talk about Monica Lewinsky. Monica Lewinsky's former married high school drama instructor, 32-year-old Andy Blieler, said that he had a long-running affair with her that began in 1992 during her college years in Portland and continued until last year. Throughout much of the time, she reportedly has alleged she had an intimate relationship with President Clinton. In an account questioning Monica's credibility, he said through an attorney that Monica had called him as often as 4 or 5 times a day after coming to Washington in 1995 as a White House intern, and that she talked obsessively about sex, including boasts that she was involved in a sexual relationship with a high-ranking White House official. Standing beside Blieler and his wife at a news conference outside their home in Portland, attorney Terry Giles said the Blielers would both describe Monica as having a pattern of twisting facts, especially to enhance her version of her own self-image. Andy would later respond to questions as why he was coming forward now, years later. He said, "I couldn't in good conscience just sit on this and not tell the authorities what I know. It had been a very difficult time for my wife and I this past year trying to mend this," because he is alleging that last spring they finally ended their relationship after his wife found out. So months pass and nothing happens because of Monica's unwillingness to cooperate or give up the president. That is until July 27th, 1998, when Monica accepts immunity in exchange for her testimony to a grand jury. She also turned over the stained dress, which was huge for them because this can be straight up DNA evidence that the president committed perjury. He's saying he never did this, never did that, never did that. Well, there's DNA evidence that Monica owns that you did do that. Monica's lawyers announced the agreement on July 28th. In a brief statement to a bunch of reporters outside their law office, they said, "We, as counsel for Monica Lewinsky, have reached an agreement today that for her full and truthful testimony, she will receive transactional immunity in this case." Transactional immunity, legal experts said, is like the broadest kind of immunity, excusing any of Monica's prior conduct in exchange for her testimony. Because it is unlimited, this type of immunity is very rarely granted, so they really, really wanted her testimony. And I'm not sure what made her flip, but I know they were really getting on her and her mom. And her mom was also, both of her parents were also given this immunity. I think they had just been trying to get Monica to plead guilty to certain things in exchange for immunity, and she kept saying no. So I'm thinking she was desperate to not have to be guilty of anything, that when they offered her this, it was sort of like a sink or swim situation. She's like, well, if I do this, I know I won't be found guilty for anything, so I might as well just do that. Because it seems like she's going down for something at some time because of all of this. Monica testified for the grand jury on August 6, 1998. One source described the 5-hour sessions between Monica and the prosecutors as comprehensive, thorough, and confirmed that the former White House intern said she had a sexual relationship with the president. Basically, everything I read about their sexual encounters is exactly what Monica testified here. So I went a bit out of order. None of that comes out until right now, and then it is later made public by the Starr report. That's what she testified. That's why I was reading it so exact. That was her actual testimony onto what had happened. But she continued to assert that she was never asked by the president to lie if questioned in the Jones suit. That is consistent with what she said months ago in her written statement summarizing what she would testify to if granted immunity from prosecution. Her final testimony transcript was, the juror said, "I think that's all the questions on that topic. There is one other question. Going back to Monday night in the president's speech, what did you want or expect to hear from the president?" Monica said, "I think what I wanted and expected were two different things. I had been hurt when he referred to me as that woman in January, but I was also glad. I was glad he made that statement, and I felt it was the best thing for him to do was to deny this, but I had been hurt. I mean, it showed me how angry he was with me, and I understood that. And the people who work for him have trashed me. They claim they haven't said anything about me. They have smeared me, and they called me stupid. They said I couldn't write. They said I was a stalker. They said I wore inappropriate clothes. I mean, you all know. So my family had been maligned because of a lot of their tactics, and I felt that I just wanted him to say that I was nice. My family had been maligned because of a lot of their tactics, and I felt I had just wanted him to say that I was a nice, decent person, that he was sorry that this happened to me because I tried to do as much as I could to protect him. I'm only 24, so I felt that this has been hard for me, and this has been hard on my family, and I just wanted him to take back by saying something nice. He would have taken back every disgusting, horrible thing that anyone has said about me from the White House, and that was what I wanted." The juror said, "Monica, none of us in this room are perfect. We all fall, and we fall several times a day. The only difference between my age and when I was your age is now I get up faster. If I make a mistake and fall, I get up and brush myself off. I used to stay there for a while after mistake. That's all I have to say." They then said, "Monica, is there anything that you would like to add to your prior testimony?" She said, "I would. I think because of the public nature of how this investigation has been and what the charges aired, that I would like to say that no one ever asked me to lie, and I was never promised a job for my silence, and that I'm really sorry, and I'm really sorry for everything that happened." And then Monica started crying, and she ended it with, "And I hate Linda Tripp." Her spokeswoman, Judy Smith, met with reporters afterward to make a short statement on her behalf. She said Monica Lewinsky testified before the grand jury today. She answered each question truthfully, completely, and honestly that was posed to her by the independent counsel, and also questions that were posed to her by other members of the grand jury. Monica and her family are relieved that this ordeal finally appears to be coming to an end. Clinton admitted in taped grand jury testimony on August 17, 1998, that he had engaged in an improper physical relationship with Monica. That evening, he gave a nationally televised statement admitting that his relationship with Monica was not appropriate. The transcript read, "As you know, in a deposition in January, I was asked questions about my relationship with Monica Lewinsky. While my answers were legally accurate, I did not volunteer information. Indeed, I did have a relationship with Miss Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong. It constituted a critical lapse in judgment and a personal failure on my part for which I am solely and completely responsible. But I told the grand jury today, and I say to you now, that at no time did I ask anyone to lie, to hide, or destroy evidence, or take any other unlawful action. I know that my public comments and my silence about this matter gave a false impression. I misled people, including my wife. I deeply regret that. I can only tell you I was motivated by many factors. First, a desire to protect myself from embarrassment of my own conduct. I was also very concerned about protecting my family. The fact that these questions were being asked in a politically inspired lawsuit, which has since been dismissed, was consideration too. In addition, I had a real and serious concern about an independent counsel investigation that began with private business dealings 20 years ago, dealings I might add about which an independent federal agency found no evidence of any wrongdoing by me or my wife over 2 years ago. The independent counsel investigation moved on to my staff and friends and then into my private life, and now the investigation itself is under investigation. This has gone on too long, cost too much, and hurt too many innocent people. Now this matter is between me, the two people I love the most, my wife and our daughter, and our God. I must put it right, and I am prepared to do whatever it takes to do so. Nothing is more important to me personally, but it is private, and I intend to reclaim my family life. For my family, it's nobody's business but ours. Even presidents have private lives. It's time to stop the pursuit of personal destruction and the prying into private lives and get on with our national life. Our country has been distracted by this matter for far too long, and I take my responsibility for my part in all of this. That is all I can do. Now it is time, in fact, it is past time to move on. We have important work to do, real opportunities to seize, real problems to solve, and real security matters to face. And so tonight, I ask you to turn away from the spectacle of the past 7 months, to repair the fabric of our national discourse, and return our attention to the challenges and all the promise of our next American century. Thank you for watching, and good night." On September 9th, Congress received the Starr report. The 445-page report on the investigation supporting evidence took up 36 boxes. The report cites 11 impeachable offenses. On September 11th, 2 days later, the Starr report was made entirely public. Over the following days, video of Clinton's testimony as well as transcripts of Monica and Linda's conversations were released to the public. So all of this is out there. Everything that Monica had testified to a private grand jury, the things that she has said about their sexual encounters, it's all public, like almost immediately. So in Monica's testimony, the submission of the dress, which they were able to match his DNA by a blood sample he had submitted back in August, and really his testimony, it had all proved that he committed perjury and possibly obstruction of justice. On October 8th, 1998, the United States House of Representatives voted to authorize a broad impeachment inquiry, thereby initiating the impeachment process. The Republican-controlled House of Representatives had decided this with a bipartisan vote of 258 to 176, with 31 Democrats joining the Republicans. And honestly, the hard work is done. Starr submitted an entire report that was already investigated about him committing perjury. The timeline is going to come from Time magazine, and for sake of time, I'm just going to breeze through the bullet points. On October 5th, the House Judiciary Committee votes along party lines to recommend an impeachment inquiry. In such a situation, the House decides whether to charge the president with impeachment and what charges should be brought, and then the Senate acts as a jury and decides whether to acquit or convict. A 2/3 majority in the Senate is required to remove the president from office. On October 8th, the House of Representatives votes to begin an open-ended impeachment inquiry, allowing the House of Judiciary Committee to draw up charges based on Starr's report allegations. 31 Democrats vote in favor of opening the inquiry. On November 9th, the House Judiciary Committee asked Clinton 81 written questions about the independent counsel's report, questions ranging from, do you admit or deny that you are the chief of law enforcement officer in the United States of America, to a precise accounting of whether he gave particular gifts to Monica. The House Judiciary Committee votes to recommend impeachment on December 11th. They approve 2 articles of impeachment pertaining to perjury, one for lying to a grand jury, and another for his testimony in response to questions about his relationship with Lewinsky, and one about obstruction of justice. On December 12th, Bill Clinton says he won't resign and again denies lying under oath. The same day, the House Judiciary Committee approves a 4th article of impeachment alleging falsehoods in his answers to the 81 questions the committee had asked. They also reject a resolution to censure his reprehensible conduct supported by Democrats. Such a measure would have allowed Congress to express disapproval without resorting to impeachment. On December 19th, the House of Representatives votes to impeach President Clinton on 2 of the 4 articles of impeachment, the charge of perjury in his August 17th federal grand jury testimony, and a charge that he prevented, obstructed, and impeded administration of justice. Clinton vows to remain in office until the last hour of the last day of his term. A poll finds record high approval of how he handled his job as president at this point. People don't hate him like I think the Senate thought they would. January 7th, 1999, the Senate begins its trial of President Clinton. In an impeachment trial, the Supreme Court's Chief Justice presides, and the 100 senators serve as jurors. January 19th, Clinton delivers his State of the Union address, which doesn't mention the investigation or impeachment at all. January 27th, 1999, the Senate rejects a motion to dismiss impeachment charges. February 8th, 1999, closing arguments are delivered from the two sides. The Senate begins private deliberations the following day. February 12th, 1999, the Senate finishes the impeachment trial, acquitting Clinton on both charges. The votes come in at 55-45 on perjury and 50-50 on obstruction of justice. 2 months after the Senate failed to convict him, President Clinton was held in civil contempt of court by Judge Susan Weber Wright for giving misleading testimony regarding his relationship with Monica, and was also fined $90,000 by Wright. He was also disbarred in both, I think, like Arkansas and like federally, because he's like the president. He was disbarred, I don't think forever, I think for just 5 years. Some updates. The Paula Jones lawsuit was thrown out on April 1st, 1998. The court said Jones would have to prove not just that Clinton harassed her or said something crass to her, but that she experienced some kind of workplace discrimination because of it. The judge said there's not evidence of that here, so I'm throwing this case out. And when Clinton heard the news, he apparently thought it was an April Fool's prank. He was in Dakar, Senegal at the time, and the media actually got footage of him celebrating the judge's decision that night. He was seen dancing and playing drums in his hotel room. Paula Jones obviously appealed, and in November of 1998, Clinton settled the Paula Jones case out of court for $850,000 to just be done with it forever. This settlement, he did not have to apologize to her publicly or privately, and he did not do so. Monica and Linda Tripp never talked again. In the 2001 ABC News interview, Linda admitted that she found Monica immature and a groupie, but she said that she was also more than happy to listen to her talk about it. Linda said Monica made her choices. She had to live with those consequences, as I have had to live with mine, but no, I would do it again, certainly. Linda, meanwhile, has denied that she was ever friends with Monica, despite the intimate details shared with her amid their hours and hours of private conversations. Linda previously told Fox News it wasn't a friendship. I wasn't her mother on any level. Linda died in April of 2020 at age 70. Despite their falling out, Monica shared well wishes for Linda's family upon learning of her illness. Monica said, no matter the past, upon hearing that Linda Tripp is very seriously ill, I hope for her recovery. I can't imagine how difficult this is for her family. Before she died in 2018, Linda gave a rare interview to Slate's Slow Burn podcast and discussed her role in the scandal. She told host Leon that she saw Clinton's relationship with Lewinsky as a horrific abuse of power. She said how it was presented to the country initially is how it continues to be referred to it today, which is an affair, the Lewinsky affair. She said, but by virtue of using that word, one assumes it was in some way an actual relationship of sorts, a romantic, physical, whatever it was, relationship, which couldn't be farther from the truth. What it was a series of encounters to address a physical need, a use of a young girl, and then the sort of cold, hard dismissal of her on any human level. Which is sort of what I was getting at the beginning of part 1. This is like, looked at on new eyes, you can see how fucked up it was on everyone else's part but hers. After Clinton's autobiography, My Life, appeared in 2004, Monica said in an interview with the British tabloid Daily Mail that he could have made it right with the book, but he hasn't. He is a revisionist of history. He has lied. I really didn't expect him to go into detail about our relationship, but if he had and he'd done it, honestly, I wouldn't have minded. I did, though, at least expect him to correct the false statements he made when he was trying to protect the presidency. Instead, he talked about it as though I had laid it all out there for the taking. I was the buffet, and he just couldn't resist the dessert. This was a mutual relationship, mutual on all levels, right from the way it started all the way through. I don't accept that he had to completely desecrate my character. The 3rd season of American Crime Story is based on everything I just told you. It's called Impeachment. I talked about it in the first part. It stars Beanie Feldstein as Monica and Sarah Paulson as Linda Tripp. It's very, very, very good. I really liked it. Monica wasn't thrilled to hear about it, she said, but if it was going to happen, she wanted to be involved. And she knew, like, if Ryan Murphy wasn't doing it, someone else was just going to do it. So she was brought on as a producer, and she did a lot of help on it, like even down to the wardrobe. She even encouraged them to include the infamous moment where she flashed her thong at the president. She said, even though it makes me cringe, I just felt like I shouldn't get a pass. Linda Tripp's daughter said Sarah did an amazing job portraying her mother and helped soften her reputation, and she thinks that her mother would have loved the show, and after watching the show, she thinks it would have sparked Linda to reach out to Monica after all of those years. Sadly, Linda had passed before the show had come out. In 2005, Monica once again tried to start over, moving to London for a master's degree in social psychology. She hoped she might be able to resume what her therapist at the time called a normal development track. She said, I wanted a job, I wanted a husband, I wanted kids, I just wanted to be treated normally. But she never could quite escape the shadow that hung over her name. After graduate school, she briefly moved to Portland, Oregon, where she tried and failed to get a job in marketing. She said she must have applied for like 50 jobs and nobody would even give her the time of day. And so she retreated. She moved back to Los Angeles, where she had grown up. She was still dependent on her parents for financial support. She volunteered and spent time with friends and worked with a variety of mental health specialists. She had been diagnosed with PTSD after the events of 1998, all while she continued to turn down offers to capitalize on her story. Television, books, plays, graphic novel, interviews, she was turning them all down, even though she could have used it. She sort of reemerged in 2014 with a Vanity Fair article about moving on, and then a TED Talk the next year about shame and bullying after she learned in 2010 that Tyler Clementi, a student at Rutgers University, killed himself after his roommate used a webcam to film him in an intimate encounter with another man. Monica had no connection to this kid, but her mother was besides herself with grief when Tyler Clementi died. She later realized that her mother was reliving a time when she sat by my bed at night and made me shower with the bathroom door open out of fear that she might take her own life. Her mother's response triggered something more urgent in her. She thought back to a conversation she had with a professor in graduate school about how there was no competing narrative to her story, and could she be the one to write her own way out of it? And I feel like that's sort of what she did. She did the Vanity Fair. She did all that work for like shame and bullying, and then she was a producer on this show sort of telling her story finally. And that is the finale of Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton. I really hope you found it as interesting as I did. I hope if you hadn't started to feel differently about this case yet, that this really changes the way you think about it. Because I think for a long time when we thought about this case, everyone thought the same thing and it was all negative things about Monica. But as you read about it, look into it, you sort of have like fresh adult eyes. You realize like perhaps the 22-year-old young intern working is not the villain in the story. Like perhaps it is like the 47-year-old president of the United States who went through and hid a relationship with one of his very young women employees who also had a pattern of harassing other women. I think it's an important case to be told, and I'm glad that if you hadn't heard it, that I'm the one who told it to you. I would be interested to know if this changed your mind at all, or if you had had that come to moment in the past couple of years of like maybe this isn't what was told to us all of those years ago. Because I mean, Monica Lewinsky's name is used as like a terrible adjective or verb, even like in a Beyonce. She's in a Beyonce song. She's in like multiple rap songs about blowjobs, and they made fun of her and Linda Tripp on SNL for a long time after this. Like she was just like a joke, and it like ruined her life. It ruined her whole adult life. It wasn't until 20 years later that she was able to like re-enter and function in society. And I think a lot of that has to do with other women coming forward and saying all these things that sort of sparked a movement in a way that Monica felt comfortable and safe enough to hope that people realize that she was more of a victim in this case than we all thought. And that's my rant, I guess. If you don't feel differently about it, you should, but that's okay. I implore you to keep doing research and reading about what really happened here. I am going to go finish wrapping Christmas presents, snuggle with Harvey, because it's not even Christmas yet when I'm recording this, because I'm doing them all at the same time. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. If this wasn't your cup of tea, I have great news. That was the last part, so I'll see you for something fresh next week. And I really would like to know what you hear about this. I'm very interested in what you think about this entire thing. Please let me know. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Mad Times with Madison. And that is it. I will see you Monday. I'll see you Monday if you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber and you hated waiting for all these parts, I want to remind you that you get early access to these parts if you subscribe. So if you were a subscriber, you would have got parts 2 and 3 right at the same time as part 1. And you get a bonus episode every Monday to start your week off. And if not, that's totally okay. I will see you Wednesday. Thank you for sticking with me for this very long case. And have a great weekend. All of it. All right. Bye.